I'm here with Betty Whelan at the Kensico Cemetery where we're visiting the grave of Lou Gehrig. He's interred here with his wife, Eleanor Gehrig. Lou Gehrig was one of the greatest players in the history of baseball. He played for the New York Yankees from, I believe, 1925 through 1939, during which time the Yankees won several world championships. He was a teammate of the legendary Babe Ruth. During his career, Lou Gehrig hit 494 home runs. He had about 2,000 RBIs. He led the league in just about every kind of offensive category. But the record that he's best known for was that he played for I believe 2,130 consecutive games, a record that went unbroken for decades until it was broken by Cal Ripken many years later. Lou Gehrig was loved by the fans. He was one of the most well-known sports figures of his era. Okay, uh, he you couldn't say there weren't enough good things that you could say about Lou Gehrig. I mean, he was the epitome of the great athlete, the great man, a person who made a real difference in the lives of a lot of people, especially those people who are Yankee fans and baseball fans. But uh, but more importantly than that, Lou Gehrig was a great man. He was loved, really loved, and at a very young age, he was diagnosed with ALS, okay, which is a nervous disorder, which even today there's no cure. So he died at a very young age of 37 years old. 37 years old. Before he died, however, the Yankees paid tribute to him. They had a special day, a Lou Gehrig Day, and that occurred, I believe, on July 4th, 1939, before a packed Yankee Stadium. And in those days, when you packed Yankee Stadium, you were talking about crowds like 60 or even 70,000 people. Okay, that's how loved Gehrig was. By this time, he wasn't playing anymore because of this. There was the progression of his illness. But Lou Gehrig was just an all-around great person, and I use that term "great" not as a platitude, but to accurately reflect what he was and who he was, as a person, as a person, and he'll always be remembered as long as we have a culture that values and remembers and recalls that as a place for baseball and sports. His name will be remembered as one of the great ones. You know, what he did on the field as a baseball player and off the field as a man and as an American. Okay? Gehrig was born and raised in New York City. He attended Columbia University. And so there was more to him than just a man who just happened to be strong and could hit a baseball. He was a person of certain intellect. He was a person of excellent demeanor, and unfortunately, and we could philosophize about this. He died at age 37. Now, why would a man who was giving so much, who was loved so much, who so many people cared for, dies at age 37, right? That is something for you who's watching this video to figure out for yourself, because I can't figure it out. I can only say, well, that's the way it is, right? You know. Any rate, you notice up here, we're not the only ones who visited Mr. Gehrig's grave. Other people have visited his grave. Betty, why don't you come close and video the mementos that are on top of Mr. Gehrig's grave and his wife's graves. They're baseballs. People have left baseballs and rocks and stones, signifying, that they have been here, that they too have paid homage to Mr. Gehrig. So I'm not Betty and I are not the only ones that have been thinking about Lou Gehrig. You know, he is an icon, a sports legend. He and the Yankees, the history of the Yankees and Gehrig are inexorably tied in together. So you know, this is so. This is where Mr. Gehrig is interred, and his wife Eleanor. And with that, I'm going to say a few. I'm going to say a few closing words, which Betty is already now familiar with. Lou and Eleanor, you're gone, but not forgotten. And may you always rest in peace.
Amen.
Amen.